Hey everyone, Nigel and Luke here, and welcome to Crime Zone.
Officials with California's Sacramento County Sheriff's Office say that a 12-year-old boy put his own life and the lives of many other people in danger this week after he allegedly stole his parents' SUV and led police on a dangerous high-speed chase. The chaotic situation began at around 7 a.m. on Monday, September 22nd, when deputies say the boy stole his parents' Ford SUV, apparently intending to drive to his old school. Authorities haven't said why the child was so determined to go there or how long ago he had been a student. When he arrived, witnesses say he ran over several traffic cones before taking off again, this time with deputies in pursuit. From there, the whole thing escalated quickly. The boy allegedly sped away, hitting speeds of up to 70 miles per hour as officers followed. The chase only ended after the 12-year-old struck a parked car and then slammed into a police patrol vehicle. Photos released by authorities show the SUV with heavy front damage and a flat tire, surrounded by multiple squad cars. Thankfully, no one was injured, but it's easy to see how things could have turned out differently. The boy was taken into custody and transported to Sacramento County Juvenile Hall. According to officials, he now faces several charges including hit and run, vehicle theft, reckless evasion, receiving a stolen vehicle, and even assault with a deadly weapon on a peace officer. Because California law states that 12 is the minimum age a child can be held criminally responsible in juvenile court, the boy's parents won't face criminal charges themselves. However, authorities have said they could still be held financially responsible for the damage caused if civil action is pursued. In the most recent update we could find, officers confirmed the boy would be released to his parents once the juvenile process was complete.
Authorities in DeKalb County, Georgia say that they are searching for multiple suspects this week after a 36-year-old woman was gunned down while trying to stop a burglary at her home. The terrifying incident began shortly after 10:30 p.m. on Saturday, September 20th, when officers were called to the 3700 block of Citation Drive in the city of Decatur. There, they found homeowner Anna Scott suffering from a gunshot wound. She was rushed to a hospital, but sadly, she did not survive. Investigators say the tragedy was captured in chilling doorbell surveillance footage. According to police, Anna had been away when she received an alert that at least 3 burglars were attempting to break into her home. Racing back in her Jeep, she pulled up just as the break-in was unfolding. What happened next was horrifying. As Anna stopped outside her house, one of the suspects raised a gun and opened fire. The 36-year-old's Jeep was riddled with bullets as the group of criminals fled the scene. Additional video from a neighbor's camera shows someone rushing out to help Anna as she collapses in the street. Officers later confirmed that she had been struck by a single round. Police later described Anna's Jeep as having come to rest just inches from her front porch, with multiple bullet holes visible in the vehicle. The crime has left the local community in shock. One witness told media that they heard rapid gunshots that night. Another resident, Jerome Willis, said Anna's death was devastating, adding, quote, "They should find the killer as quick as possible." At the time of this recording, no arrests have been made, though. Investigators have released a photo of one of the suspects, urging anyone with information to come forward. Anyone with that information is encouraged to reach out to police or alternatively to submit an anonymous tip through the Tip 411 app.
Authorities in Pinellas County, Florida say that a 22-year-old man is facing a long list of serious charges after he allegedly struck and killed a woman riding her e-bike last week, then continued driving for blocks with her stuck in his windshield. The devastating incident unfolded late Saturday night, September 20th, as 38-year-old Kirsten Aileen Herman Strang was riding in the curb lane on South 49th Street. Police say that's when she was hit from behind by a 2021 Nissan Altima, allegedly being driven by 22-year-old Xavier Rigby. The vehicle was reportedly traveling at a high rate of speed, and the impact was so violent that Kirsten was thrown onto the hood of the car and into the windshield. Rather than stopping, though, investigators say Rigby kept driving for nearly 8 blocks before Kirsten's body was finally dislodged and left in the roadway. Tragically, by the time first responders arrived, Kirsten had already passed away at the scene. As for Rigby, police say he didn't call 911 or wait for help. Instead, he abandoned the crash site and was located a short time later at a nearby liquor store about a mile away. Officers said he smelled of alcohol and showed multiple signs of impairment, including bloodshot eyes and slurred speech. After refusing field sobriety tests, Rigby was arrested on the spot. He's now facing charges of DUI manslaughter, vehicular homicide, and leaving the scene of a crash involving death, among others. During his first court appearance on September 22nd, the judge in the case wasted no time calling out Rigby's dangerous record, noting prior offenses that included a previous DUI, reckless driving, and even another hit and run back in 2022. The judge ultimately set his bond at $750,000 for the DUI manslaughter charge, but gave him no bond on vehicular homicide, calling him a danger to the community. Meanwhile, those who knew Kirsten have been left heartbroken. The single mother leaves behind a young son, and loved ones have described her as an angel and one of the most caring people in the community.
Authorities in Kentucky say that a 44-year-old man already convicted in a notorious killing 2 decades ago has now been charged in another heinous case, this time involving the double murder of a mother and her teenage daughter. The investigation began on Friday, September 19th, when deputies in Rowan County were called to perform a welfare check at a home in Morehead, about 60 miles east of Lexington. Inside, they made a devastating discovery. 37-year-old Kayla Blake and her 13-year-old daughter, Kennedy McWhorter, have been stabbed to death. According to a criminal complaint, the suspect, 44-year-old Joshua Cottrell, also attempted to move the bodies before fleeing the scene. Troopers tracked him down later that same day, nearly 5 hours away, at a hospital in the city of Paducah. Cottrell was reportedly still wearing blood-stained clothing when he was arrested. The 44-year-old is now facing 2 counts of murder and 1 count of tampering with physical evidence. He's being held in the McCracken County Jail on a $1 million bond. While police have not yet shared a possible motive, friends of Kayla have told local media that she had been in a relationship with Cottrell and had recently said that, quote, things were good and they were happy. For many in Kentucky, though, this arrest has brought back painful memories. That's because Cottrell was at the center of a high-profile homicide case back in 2003. At the time, he was just 21 years old when he killed 36-year-old Richie Phillips in an Elizabethtown motel room. Cottrell stuffed Richie's body into a suitcase and dumped it into Rough River Lake, where it was discovered by a fisherman 8 days later. During his 2005 trial, Cottrell admitted to the killing, but claimed it was in self-defense after Richie made unwanted sexual advances. A Hardin County jury ultimately convicted Cottrell of second-degree manslaughter instead of murder, and he was sentenced to 20 years. However, he was released on mandatory reentry supervision in 2019. Speaking with the media this week, Richie's mother, Renee Phillips, said her family always feared that Cottrell would kill again, and after hearing of Kayla and Kennedy's deaths, she and her relatives, quote, broke down and cried. She also recalled a chilling detail from Cottrell's 2005 trial, telling reporters, quote, when the judge asked would he do it over, would he kill Richie again, he said yeah. At the time of this recording, Cottrell remains behind bars awaiting further court proceedings. The exact motive and events leading up to the double murder are still under investigation.
A South Carolina teaching assistant has been arrested in connection with an equally strange and senseless crime this week, after authorities say he reportedly dispersed a foul-smelling spray at the high school where he worked, causing disruptions, health concerns, and tens of thousands of dollars in damages. According to the Florence County Sheriff's Office, 32-year-old Alexander Lewis, a teaching assistant at West Florence High School, repeatedly sprayed a chemical purchased online that was designed to mimic the odor of feces. Officials say the incidents occurred multiple times between August 25th and September 19th of this year, before Lewis was finally arrested. Police say Lewis's actions created chaos throughout the school. Students and staff complained of nausea, dizziness, and breathing problems. Some children even required medical attention after inhaling the odor, while parents reported that their kids stayed home from school to avoid exposure. One student told local outlets, quote, every time I go to my second block class, I walk up the stairwell and immediately, teachers are covering their noses and their mouths, coughing because of the smell. I got physically sick the other day because of the smell. I feel like I'm going to pass out because I get so lightheaded and so dizzy. Authorities added that the mystery stench required them to conduct costly inspections and repairs to the school's air conditioning system, racking up damages estimated at $55,000. Lewis was taken into custody on September 19th and charged with disturbing schools and malicious injury to property. He is currently being held at the Florence County Detention Center while awaiting a bond hearing. The investigation remains ongoing, and officials say additional charges could follow.
Representatives from the FBI say that they are investigating the aftermath of a deadly shooting at a Texas Immigration and Customs Enforcement facility this week after a gunman opened fire on agents and detainees, an incident that officials say showed a, quote, high degree of pre-attack planning. The attack took place at around 6:30 a.m. on September 24th outside of the ICE facility in question in the city of Dallas. According to reports, agents were in the middle of transporting several detainees from a van to the main building when suddenly shots began to ring out. It's unclear exactly how many rounds were fired, though officials from the Department of Homeland Security later said that multiple shots hit the van as well as the facility itself. 3 people were hit during the gunfire, all of whom were detainees. One of those victims was killed, while the other 2 were critically wounded. By the time authorities responded and located the alleged gunman, it was too late to take him into custody. The man, later identified as 29-year-old Joshua John, had turned his weapon on himself. John was found on a nearby rooftop, where it's believed he carried out the shooting with a bolt-action rifle. Surveillance video recovered from the area reportedly shows the 29-year-old driving with a large ladder on his car about 3.5 hours before the deadly incident. It's suspected he used the ladder to get to the roof, where he laid in wait before firing. As for the motive behind the disturbing crime, the FBI says that is still officially under investigation, though they have stated they believe the attack was politically motivated and meant to terrorize ICE agents. To support this, they released an image of unfired rounds allegedly recovered from the scene, one of which had the words "anti-ICE" written on its casing. On top of this, authorities say during searches of John's home, they found several notes written by him which referred to the work done by ICE as human trafficking, and stating that those at the Dallas facility were, quote, people showing up to collect a dirty paycheck. One other note apparently read, quote, hopefully this will give ICE agents real terror to think, is there a sniper with armor-piercing rounds on that roof? Because of this, many were quick to assume John's politics, with Vice President J.D. Vance calling him, quote, a violent left-wing extremist. However, so far that has not actually been confirmed and is actively being disputed, including by John's own family members. Several of the 29-year-old's relatives have claimed that they never knew him to have strong feelings about either ICE or politics in general, telling media outlets they were completely shocked and devastated by his actions. Further reporting states that John had voted in the most recent presidential election, but was registered as an independent. Some have also pointed out the seeming inconsistencies in the shooter's professed motive and his actions, namely that he only shot ICE detainees, not actual agents themselves. Then there's the fact that among John's handwritten notes, there was seemingly one taunting authorities about the lack of information they'd be able to find about him. That note reportedly read, quote, good luck with the digital footprint. What we do know, though, is that there is evidence John had been planning the crime since at least mid-August. During that time, the 29-year-old allegedly searched apps that tracked the presence of ICE agents and did research on ballistics. Apparently, he also had a fixation with the September 10th assassination of Charlie Kirk, having sought out the video of the crime multiple times. At the time of this recording, the whole incident is still under investigation, and none of the names of the shooting victims have been released.
Authorities in North Carolina say a highly decorated former Marine is facing numerous charges this week after he allegedly showed up at a crowded waterfront bar and unleashed a deadly shooting attack, one that left at least 3 people dead and 8 others injured. The terrifying incident unfolded shortly before 9:30 p.m. on September 27th at a pub called the American Fish Company in the coastal city of Southport. According to reports, patrons were enjoying a relaxing evening outside on the waterfront deck where live music was playing, when suddenly things descended into chaos. It's now alleged that the horrifying turn came when 40-year-old Marine veteran Nigel Edge pulled up to the dock on his boat. Moments later, he reportedly opened fire into the crowd of restaurant-goers with a short-barreled rifle, one that was equipped with a suppressor, folding stock, and scope. 3 people were killed, while a further 8 were injured. Authorities say at least one of the wounded is barely clinging to life, and that the death toll may still rise. Immediately following the shooting, Edge allegedly fled in his boat alongside the Intercoastal Waterway. He was spotted and arrested around 10 p.m. by the U.S. Coast Guard while trying to load a vessel along the marina in the nearby town of Oak Island. According to town officials, Edge is a resident of Oak Island and has had a number of issues with authorities over the last few years. The 40-year-old, who up until 2023 was legally named Sean de Beauvoir, is a highly decorated Marine who served during the 2003 U.S. invasion of Iraq. During his time in the Marine Corps, he received several prestigious awards, including a Purple Heart. The motive behind the shooting is currently still being investigated, and nothing has been confirmed. However, it's been noted by many reports that Edge suffers from PTSD and in recent years appears to have fallen into a conspiracy theory rabbit hole. According to these reports, Edge has filed a number of strange and baseless lawsuits, including 2 this year in which he claimed he was the target of a, quote, LGBTQ white supremacist ploy. In one of the suits in May, he claimed a local church in Southport was behind a so-called civil conspiracy masterminded by the LGBTQ community and white supremacist pedophiles to kill him because he is a straight man. The other accuses the Brunswick Medical Center of helping, quote, LGBTQ white supremacists who were out to get him because he survived their attack while serving in Iraq. It appears Edge has echoed many of these beliefs in a book he wrote and self-published entitled Headshot: Betrayal of a Nation. The book claims that he was shot 4 times during his military service, once in the head, by friendly fire over an international conspiracy. At the time of this recording, authorities say they are still working to discern Edge's exact motive, but have called the attack highly premeditated. So far, he has been charged with 3 counts of first-degree murder, 5 counts of attempted first-degree murder, and 5 counts of assault with a deadly weapon with intent to kill. More charges may still follow.
People across the United States have been left reeling from yet another act of mass violence this week, after a second former Marine allegedly carried out a shooting and arson attack at a Michigan church, a crime that left at least 4 people dead and 8 others injured. The awful incident unfolded on the morning of September 28th at the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints in Grand Blanc Township. According to reports, hundreds of people were inside the building for the church's 10 a.m. service and had just finished the congregational hymn when suddenly things were interrupted by a loud bang. The noise was a Chevy Silverado pickup truck which had slammed into the front of the building, one that was allegedly being driven by 40-year-old Marine veteran Thomas Jacob Sanford. Initially, everyone assumed that the crash was an accident, and several members of the congregation ran outside to try and provide assistance. However, when they got close, Sanford allegedly pulled out a rifle and opened fire. The shooting led to fear and panic as worshippers rushed to get themselves and their families to safety. Unfortunately, though, things only became more chaotic when at some point Sanford allegedly set the church on fire, causing the entire structure to burn down. Within minutes, authorities had arrived at the scene and Sanford was killed in a shootout with officers. Sadly, though, by that point, at least 4 people had been killed and 8 others were wounded. It's still unclear if this is the final death toll, as firefighters and other emergency responders stated that they were worried there might have been more victims trapped in the blaze. Authorities say they are also investigating, quote, suspected explosive devices found at the scene. Right now, all of this is very recent, and the situation is still developing. So unfortunately, we don't have a ton of additional information about the case, especially when it comes to Sanford's alleged motive. Frustratingly though, this has not stopped widespread speculation online, with people making completely unverified claims about Sanford's politics. For instance, within minutes, some users on social media were already stating that the 40-year-old had "Stop Trump" signs outside of his house, while others claimed this was incorrect and there were actually signs in support of the president. Many of these users also pointed to the fact that Sanford had 2 large American flags secured to the back of his truck at the time of the deadly attack. Again though, we want to stress that as of the time of this recording, absolutely nothing has been verified about the motive. What we do know about Sanford is that he was a former Marine. The 40-year-old reportedly served from 2004 to 2008, including in Iraq. During his time with the Marine Corps, he made it to the rank of sergeant. Online, Sanford portrayed himself as a family man and an avid outdoorsman. The 40-year-old posted many pictures of himself hunting and also described his struggles raising a sick young child, as his son had been born with a rare genetic disorder. Despite the lack of confirmed details at this time, what's caught many people's attention is the disturbing similarities between this case and the mass shooting in North Carolina. Not only did the deadly incidents take place just 12 hours apart, but both alleged perpetrators were ex-Marines, and both attacks appeared to be acts of targeted violence. No one is currently suggesting that the 2 incidents are linked, but all the same, the commonalities are eerie to say the least. At the time of this recording, the situation is still developing, and the investigation continues. Hey there. Before you take off, we'd just like to take a second and say that we really appreciate you sticking around to the end of the video. Luke and I are so grateful for our incredible Crime Zone community, so thank you for being a part of it. If you want to help Crime Zone continue to grow, one of the easiest things you can do is leave a like on this video and consider subscribing. Be sure to hit that notification bell as well and select all notifications to stay up to date with our latest releases. If you're looking for additional ways to support the channel, there are a couple of options. We've got a thriving community over on Patreon, where you can get ad-free and early access to all of our content, as well as 4 additional stories per week for each of our Crimes of the Week and Crimes of the Week International videos. Head over to patreon.com/crimezone to learn more and to meet some of the awesome people whose names are currently on screen. If that isn't your thing, we've also now launched channel memberships so you can join directly here on YouTube. Channel members get a lot of the same perks as on Patreon, including extra content, without the added hassle of having to go off-platform. Now, that being said, we know times are tough and that not everyone is able to support financially. Regardless of your situation though, we want you to know that we truly appreciate every like, sub, share, and comment that you send our way. Once again, thanks so much, and we hope to see you soon.